This game was ugly all around. We have so much to get to on both sides of the ball. Bart, I'll start with you, though. What are your initial thoughts on this very sloppy game?
I mean, you know, what's that graphic that they had that's real popular? They say the longer you mess around, the more you're going to find out.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's the PG version. Yeah.
Right. So if you mess around in this game, if you get to the 1 yard line and don't run the football or don't, score, then you let a team hang around in these type of elements, and you find out. You have a blown coverage on defense, and you find out. So they messed around all game, and they found out. Now they're going to go play probably arguably one of the hottest teams in football in London, and this game is going to be a must-win because we know what's happening with the Buffalo Bills. So, this was probably the worst game I've ever seen Breece Hall play.
Facts.
It wasn't a good game for Garrett Wilson. So this was a game that they're going to have to try and look at the tape. They're going to have to put their big boy pads on because this won't be the last bad weather game. And now Aaron Rodgers looks like he may have a hamstring injury, and you may be having to go to Tyrod Taylor on a regular week. So traveling, all that stuff, this game is one that you let get slip by. And if you're going to be a good team, you're going to be a playoff team, you're going to be a team that expects to win the division, you have to win this game.
Yeah, we started the pregame talking about Aaron Rodgers and his words saying, listen, this team is going to go as far as depends on how they handle success. They looked asleep all 4 quarters, right? And what's frustrating about this is you're talking about now injuries are starting to stack up. Now you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, you're looking at Breece Hall. I don't know what was wrong with him today. Missed assignments, he was all over the place. But nevertheless, I also look at this defensive line. When it came down to a phone booth game in which they made it, they got rolled, man. They got rolled late in the game. So the Jets right now just didn't feel good. They didn't look good. They didn't look efficient. We were all kind of in a high from their last performance, and I think they drank some of their juice. They didn't come out firing. They didn't come out with the same energy they showed up last week. And I know it was a gloomy day, but that's no excuse. The other guys on the other side of that ball, they got after it and they did what they needed to do. So it was weird. It was a weird day.
Yeah, it looked like they wanted it more at times, Denver. Yeah. And, I mean, Chelsea, you brought us in saying it came down to the field goal, and it did. But the Jets lost this game well before they had that opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, people will talk about Greg Legg missing the kick, but this team had 13 penalties in this game. They were outrushed 127-64. Aaron Rodgers was sacked 5 times. Bo Nix was sacked 0 times.
Right.
By the way, the Broncos were playing out without their starting right tackle. Their offensive line's not that good to begin with. There was no pass rush. For some reason, the Jets blitzed what I counted 5 times today.
Right.
The blitz rate went from almost 40% on Thursday Night Football down to 11 or 12% today when you're trying to make them one-dimensional. So there's so much wrong here, and I think I agree with you, Willie. The Jets sleptwalk player-wise, but the Jets also are just outcoached too often for the amount of talent they have.
That's fair.
And it's a problem, and it's not really towards Jeff Ulbrich because this defense does their part for the most part, but they're really not that creative offensively. It feels like they've had some special teams blunders. I mean, their Charles penalty is ridiculous. It's they're sloppy. They're sloppy, and they're too good to be this sloppy.
Yeah. Bart, what do you think it was more offense or defense that lost this game for the Jets?
I mean, on both sides of the ball. I mean, you talk about not getting pressure on a rookie quarterback. I mean, I don't understand 40% blitz rate last week, and now you don't light a rookie up. You expect a rookie to have to be able to struggle finding who's the open man. They didn't mind blitzing Aaron Rodgers. They stayed true to who they were last week. We talked about Vance Joseph was second in the league in blitz rate, and they stayed true to themselves, and they were able to get to Aaron Rodgers. And just the miscommunication on Breece Hall, the miscommunications on Garrett Wilson.
Football.
Right, Garrett Wilson, like running a route and Aaron's throwing the ball, not even looking back. The only person that has chemistry with him, and we understand why, is Alan Lazard. But at some point, you guys got to be able to be on the same page in these pivotal, critical moments, because most games come down to critical moments. And, they weren't great in situational football, in my opinion, and they were gifted an opportunity to steal this game.
Right.
After Lux missed the field goal, only to come back. And Zerline hasn't been particularly good this year. Last year, he was outstanding, automatic. He hasn't been somebody that you can lean on this season. He hasn't been efficient.
Yeah, and up front, I thought we were just spotty, man. I think Tyron Smith didn't have his best day. He looked stiff. I don't know if he's battling something. Obviously, we know he has his injury woes. But up front, man, we said it early in the game, they had to make this a north-south game, and they tried to go lateral. And all the Broncos were doing was fighting backside, crossing, facing, and filling gaps and making tackles. And what's frustrating, and you talk about adjustment, like if you're Nathaniel Hackett and you're watching that first The fact that you didn't come out in the second half with saying, hey, we got this big bruiser in Breland Allen. We got this damn good offensive line. Damn the athleticism. Let's go down to him and play bully football. And we didn't do so. And it came down to us once again, and I said this week one, we can't continue to depend on Aaron Rodgers to get us out the building every time. It's going to take a team effort for us to win games. This needed to be a team effort, and we wasn't able to get it done.
Right, and it's, it was slippery today, so it was hard to push the ball down the field or outside the numbers, but it felt like Conklin wasn't overly involved. He had the 4 catches with 17 yards. I mean, they're just quick throws.
Right.
They didn't get the middle of the field working, it felt like. It felt like there was many times where they were just looking at Garrett Wilson just for the sake of looking at him. They didn't really get Breece involved in the pass game enough, and one time Rodgers had him, he kind of put the ball away from him. That kind of disrupted the ability to run after the catch. So it's just sloppy all around, and there's just no excuses to lose this game where Bo Nix really didn't have much going at all.